Hey guys, welcome back. And today is a real exciting day because we finally have our trash service. So tomorrow's trash day, and I know it's middle of the March, but apparently I paid for the full year, and I didn't realize they started taking the trash. So even though I'm a little behind on the times, technically, we've had trash service since January 1st, which is very odd because no one notified me. That's probably also because we never get mail here, which is still a problem, and we'll address that later. But this place has really allowed me to appreciate the things that we take for granted. Things like a non-leaking roof, getting mail, having your trash taken away. Heating, so water, many things. So hopefully, the experiment is today. I've thrown the trash out, and tomorrow we'll see if they pick it up. If they don't, I will cry. But fingers crossed, hopefully they will. And it has been rather warm, so I think we will start to get things moving along here. One of the things that I wanted to do, and I think most people would probably say this is a waste of time, is that I have all these holes in the wall. And believe it or not, since these blocks are hollow, the only thing separating me from the outside is about one of these walls, which might be like half an inch thick, and then an inch of stucco. So the ventilation is probably not going to be great. So I think, and this might be a total waste of money, but before I put the insulation on the wall, I'm thinking it might be a good idea to buy a bunch of those gap filler spray foam kits from like Home Depot or something, and just spray in those holes until they're filled. Just so there's something, in between. I know it's probably not going to make that big of a difference, but just so so it's not just 2 inches of cement between us and the outside here. And chances are most of that's just going to fall straight to the bottom. We'll see. If I run out of cans and I haven't even filled a single hole, then I'll know that's probably not a great idea. But I think that's what I'm going to do. There are a lot of holes. I will be removing all of this wall conduit as well, as you see there. And these mini splits, well, I should say AC units because they're not mini splits, but oh, look in there. Ooh, it is moldy. So all of those are coming down. And I will need some extra help, some hands, to carry some of these things to the scrapyard because they're really heavy, like the condensers outside. I might try to throw these out the window. I'm not really quite sure yet. But the consensus is do not reuse the existing copper. So we're going to rip all of that out and run new lines everywhere. Hopefully rip out most of the electrics too, just because it's really like scattered around and not well organized. And I have a OCD for cable management. So I'd like everything to be labeled and run correctly. So that is up on the agenda this week. So hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of good footage and rock. If you're still out there and you're still alive from 1972, I say hello. So without further ado, we're gonna continue and I'm gonna show you what's going on this week. What is this hole in the wall? I have an empty conduit down here and another bending conduit, which seemingly goes maybe to this light switch because there's nothing on the other side at all. But what an interesting way to put a huge hole in the wall for this, I guess. And someone stuffed, old newspaper down there. I think that was a common practice. Maybe extra insulation? I don't know. So it is the next day, and to some, this may not be very interesting, but today, on the curb here, it's the lack of something that's interesting. So they finally took my trash, so that's a win. So this week has been a pretty tough week, a lot of things going on, and one of the things is the weather is warming up, so I'm trying to get some more outdoor stuff done. So I'm not sure if a couple of you guys remember, I bought this, actually this is the second wood chipper I bought. The first wood chipper I bought, the motor was seized, and I thought it was too much work to get it started again. So I bought this guy. It did start. The only downside was these blades are so dull. Basically, any wood you put in here is just beat into submission instead of actually cut. So I did buy a set of new blades, and that's what I'm doing right here. These bolts are so old, and it has, in my opinion, I think this probably has never been replaced since it was brand new. So it was very difficult to get off. That's why you see I have that map gas torch there to kind of heat up the bolts, just to kind of loosen them up a little bit. And here's my new blades, and I do have Boost and a helper with me today. Just we're just hanging out in the house, shooting the shit, and getting some small things done here and there. I do have kind of a funny story about the first wood chipper. So I bought that wood chipper for $100 off Marketplace, and when I went to go resell it, I just listed it for like $60. Had a guy come with really broken English. That wasn't the problem. I think the problem was we had a really big communication issue. So he showed up at my house, and he wanted to look at the wood chipper, so he started taking it apart to see like if he could fix it or whatnot. Took it apart literally in the middle of my one-lane driveway, and while he's taking this thing apart, he's like, "Oh yeah, you'll take $20, right?" I was like, "No, I won't take $20." He's like, "Oh well, I guess I'll just leave then." And I was like, "You're gonna put this back together?" He's like, "No." I was like, "All right, how about this? I'll do 40." And then he's like, "I'll do 40." And then he proceeds to dismantle, because he brought like a Toyota Corolla, the smallest four-door sedan that Toyota makes, to haul this wood chipper. And he spends, I think, the next 45 minutes to an hour disassembling with literally the most basic of hand tools. I think he had a wrench that was a fork that had the two center prongs bent back. And I had to be somewhere, and I was like, "Could you move it out of the driveway at least?" He's like, "Oh, I'll be done in a minute." 45 minutes later. I thought that was kind of comical. So, in case some of you guys out there are looking to up your annoyance and in negotiation skills, I suppose you could do something like that. He did get the deal he wanted, so I guess that's a win on his side. Anyways, we're towards the final stages of this. This blade on this side is for small logs, and this blow molded plastic chute is actually very difficult to get on. So eventually you'll see that I just widen these holes a little bit, and so once this is on, it should be ready to be put back into work. Obviously, it's in the middle of the night. We're not going to be booting this thing up and waking up everyone. So the next day we'll be booting this up and hopefully getting rid of some of that massive branch pile by the driveway, if you guys remember that. So this is the next day, and it booted up. It started up just fine. I did put stabilized fuel in this the winter before. And this is a much more tedious task than I originally thought. This is the first time I've actually ever run a wood chipper, and there's a lot of things I didn't know. Number one, if the sticks aren't very straight, they don't really go in very easily, and larger sticks really bog this machine down. Even though it says 14.5 foot-pounds of torque, it bogs down a lot. Also, the chute on the other side for the small branches, really, really bad. Like, it's so hard to get anything up there because it actually curves upward. But you can see at the end of the day, we did make a considerable dent in this pile. So the sun has gone down now, so there's nothing we can really do outside. But one of the biggest things is I have no clue how they glued this one strip of carpet down, because it is very, very difficult to get up. So we tried a bunch of other things. That's me using the torch to see if it was flame retardant. Because once you heat it up, in theory, the glue should soften, but also we don't want it to catch on fire. So we took a very small piece of carpet and tested it out with the map gas. And yes, turns out it is very flammable, and it also off-gasses a ton of really bad smoke. So we decided against that. Pulled out the multi-tool, and I figured we'd just go to town and start cutting up the carpet below. There's some linoleum over here, which has multiple layers. Which is kind of funny because they just put layer upon layer here. So as I scrape this layer off, I realize there's another layer I have to scrape off. So eventually, all of this flooring needs to come up, and there's glue on the bottom of pretty much all of this carpet. Some stronger than others, like that one strip in the middle there where there used to be a I guess there used to be a wall there. That's why there's a strip there. Actually, there used to be 3 walls here. You can kind of see the remnants of where those stud walls were along the back wall here. And yes, I did just dump a bunch of water straight out the window. It's okay. No one's out there. And eventually, the plan for this room is all of this flooring comes up, and I want to be able to sand or remove most of this glue. And then I'm considering just doing a floating floor just because that's probably the easiest, and also at the same time it will probably be easily serviceable, like in the future if I want to change the flooring. It comes up real easy. I don't have to remove glue or epoxy, stuff like that. And if anybody knows, it's that flooring and all these quote-unquote consumable items over the years always need to be refinished or redone. So just want to kind of plan for the future. So I do have some kind of exciting news. I don't know if it's going to go through yet, but I was contacted by a casting agent, and they want to have the school featured on an episode of a home improvement show. I'm not really quite sure if that's actually going to go through or not, so fingers crossed. But one of those things is that they want to see like a good transformation from before and after. So they're like, until we give our decision in a couple of weeks, try not to do anything too crazy. So I have a lot of outdoor stuff to do anyways, so I don't think that will be a problem. I want to re-silicone the porch roof during that time, clean off the breezeway roof, fill the holes that all the AC units come through, remove all of these AC units. Those are all things that I want to do in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we'll hear back from them soon, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we have these holes here that are literally...
I was gonna screwdriver it.
Yeah. We have these holes here, which are literally every single place there's a hole, there's only 2 inches to the outside. So we're gonna try to fill those up with a little bit of spray foam. We're gonna see what happens. So this is just the great stuff. And we're just going to use one for now.
Might need the other one.
And
if the other one least prepped.
If it fits, it fits. If not, we'll think about something else. So the original plan was maybe if I could fill the actual cavity and it would just expand out and give a little bit of insulation value. But I realized these cavities are, basically endless. So eventually what I actually ended up doing is just filling up where the outer hole is. So this is a different day, and there's this massive hole here. I figured the easiest thing to do would be just to fill it with ready mix cement. So here we are mixing up some cement and just kind of lining this hole a little bit. It took 2 60-pound bags, maybe a little under, just to kind of fill this up, and hopefully this will set okay. We're going to go check back up on the foam probably in a few days just to give it the maximum amount of time for it to expand. It is dropping in the 40s at night at some point in time, so hopefully it will dry up fine. And we'll check up on that in a couple of days. And sorry this was a bit of a short episode. That is about as much as we had time to do this this week. I did find some of these old historical photos, and you can kind of tell which rooms these are in. I dug these up in my research for the casting director of that show. I will update you guys if anything happens, and we'll basically see what happens. If not, that's fine too, but it is kind of cool to see some of these historical photos and see what it was like before. So hope you guys all have a good week, and a special thanks to our channel members, including our 2 newest members, Mandy and Roulette. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you guys next week. Bye.